What is good, YouTube? Quinn Wade Basketball Analysis coming to y'all with NBA news. Today we're going to talk about Nikola Jokic, a guy that, ended up bumping out Nurkic. Everybody thought Nurkic was untradeable. He's a guy they should build around. He put up solid, not great rookie numbers. And next thing you know, he's getting traded to the Portland Trail Blazers because Nurkic and Jokic couldn't play together and they wasn't a good fit together. So they had to let go of one of them because they couldn't pay both of them. And they ended up letting go of Nurkic and keeping Jokic. And Jokic was able to show that he's a better rebounder, he's a better playmaker, and he's a better post-up player. Plus, he can extend his range to mid-range jumpers and three-point shots. Something that, Nurkic can hit mid-range. He can post up a little bit, but he can't shoot the three. And I think Jokic was a better all-around overall player than Nurkic, even though I think Nurkic is a starter in this league. And I do think Nurkic is one of the better centers in this league. Obviously, they picked Jokic over him, and Jokic is still on his rookie deal, and he's going to get paid $100 million probably or close to it because he's been showing that he's a guy you can build around. Obviously, the Denver Nuggets have been a playoff team for the whole season so far. They ended up losing Paul Millsap, and they still above 500. I thought that they'd take a bigger slide, but they've been playing good enough to still be in the playoffs and still have a chance to win around 45, well, 40, yeah, about 45 games to a little bit higher than that. If that, they obviously just 2 games above 500. They can't really win consistently. They haven't really shown that they're a dominant team. They haven't really shown that they're a good defensive team, but they're a hard team to stop because of their floor spacing. Their ability to play inside and out makes them a difficult team to guard, especially when you got a guy like Jokic that can punish littler players, and he can shoot, and he's quick enough to beat a lot of centers, and he can get to the free throw line. But we're gonna talk about is Nikola Jokic a NBA superstar? That's the question for the day that I'm gonna ask you guys that's watching. Do you guys really believe that Nikola Jokic is a superstar? Like I said, last year they barely missed the playoffs. Obviously, Russell Westbrook ended their season, and that ended up knocking them out of the playoffs. Something that they would have did if they would have won that game, they would have been in the playoffs. And now, like I said, this year they've been in the playoffs since day one, and they have consistently held one of those spots. They ended up getting passed up by teams like OKC. They got off to bad starts, and they was able to pass them up, dropping them all the way down to the 7th seed, which is bad, but they only one win away from being to like 5th seed again. But like I said, they can't win consistently. Jokic is a guy that's different. It's not. He's like an old school center with a modern day game because his ability to stretch out the floor and knock down threes. But he also likes to post up and run the offense. They like to run the offense through Jokic. He's not the best defender. He's not the best rim protector. He never really physically dominates games, kind of like Yao Ming, Shaq, Wilt. Obviously, Willis Reed, Moses Malone. He's not a dominant rebounder. He's not a dominant post player. He's not a guy that usually take over games, get 30, 40 points a game. He's more of a team player. He likes to make sure his teammates are getting touches. He likes to keep his teammates involved within the offense. And even when he gets the ball, he doesn't really look to score some of the times. Sometimes he does. Sometimes he just move the ball around and let his teammates do other things. And he can play off the ball, like I said, with the mid-range jumpers, dive into the paint, shooting threes, and he also can get putbacks, which he's a solid finisher around the rim, especially when it comes to getting a rebound and going right back up. He has little hooks, a soft touch, and honestly, he is a good free throw shooter, shooting 88% this year from the free throw line, but he's only getting there 3 times a game, the same around last year. And honestly, Jokic, even with Paul Millsap going down and they needed Jokic to step up a little bit more, his point total is still not really that high. He's only averaging 15.9 points a game. That just shows you that he's not really dominating games at all offensively when it comes to the point of scoring. because 15 points a game is low when you're the best player on the team and you're shooting only 11 shots per game, and you're supposed to be the franchise guy. You're supposed to be the reason why Paul Millsap wanted to come to Denver to play alongside a talented guy. One thing I will give him credit, though, is that even though he's only shooting 12 times a game, he is getting 5 assists a game, which is a lot for a center. But we started to see guys like Mark and Joe Kim and Paul Gasol, centers that have the ability to stretch the floor, bang in the paint, and also make their teammates better because they can dive to the basket, get dump offs, shoot spot up threes, and they can actually execute in the pick and roll if the ball is given to them. They can make plays for themselves or for others, and that's different. But like I said, when you ask people around basketball, they always say that the players overseas is more skilled. And like I said, Jokic is a player that was overseas, came to the NBA, and he's a skilled big man. The problem with it is, do you really think you can win a championship with Paul Gasol as your best player? Do you really think you can win a championship with Mark Gasol as your best player? Do you think you can win a championship as Joe Kim Noah as your best player? And they all have similar games to Jokic. They set screens, they make their teammates better by passing, and they not as aggressive when it comes to scoring the basketball. And that's why I came up with this video, because I want to know what my subscribers think about Nikola Jokic. Do you think that this guy is really a superstar? Do you think that you can win a championship with Nikola Jokic as your best player? Even including if you have Paul Millsap on the roster, because Paul Millsap obviously is in debate. He might be the best player because he's a better defender. He's a better, more versatile scorer, and he can put the ball on the put the ball on the floor. Plus, he's more of a stretch floor now, and he fits that modern day small ball four. But you also, like I said, can make the argument that Jokic is the best player on the Denver Nuggets. Either way it go, that's the question I had to ask you guys. Do you think that he is a franchise player, or you think he not? Jokic, he has signs of being more of a role player. He don't have the alpha male personality. He doesn't have the takeover mentality. He doesn't demand the ball so he can dominate games. He has a couple games where he just flat out just took over games, but he doesn't do that on a consistent basis. It seems like he's, like I said, perfectly fine with just being a guy that you can play. He seems like he's fine with not being a 20-point scorer. He seems like he's fine not being like a dominant player when it comes to scoring the basketball, which does hurt his value. If you trade for him, you're not gonna think that Jokic is your best player. To me, I don't think that you probably can win a championship with Jokic as your best player. Kind of like what I said about DeAndre Jordan. DeAndre Jordan is a solid defender. He can rebound that basketball. He can get putbacks. He can dominate around that basket. But he can't really do anything outside of that. Jokic is obviously more skilled and more versatile and can do more, but he just don't have the mentality of a dominant player like any center, like Kobe, like Tracy, like Iverson, that they just gonna give me the ball. I'm gonna try to figure out a way to win us a game. And Jokic is just too nice, too friendly, not angry enough, not aggressive enough, and it's just kind of be like, I don't really know. He reminds me of a Paul Gasol. And Paul Gasol, he was the best player on Memphis, but they couldn't even win a playoff series. And when he went to the Lakers, he was a perfect fit with the aggressive, scoring, dominating, takeover, powerful will, passion for the game, Kobe Bryant. And that's what I'm saying. Is Jokic really a complementary player? He can complement other stars with his abilities to stretch the floor, play within the post, make his teammates better, set screens, and play off the ball. And he can take over every once in a while when you need him to. Is Nikola Jokic really a second or third option on a championship team? I know I'm gonna get people gonna be kind of disappointed with this video because he shows superstar potential. But like I said, when you just look at his mentality, how he approached the game, and how he plays the game, he reminds me more of a Paul Gasol, who's really a second or third best player, maybe even fourth best player sometimes, like on Chicago and on that Laker team when they had Nash, Kobe, and Dwight Howard. He was more of a complimentary player, even though he was the number one option in Memphis. They never really did anything. And now that Jokic, they didn't make the playoffs last year with Jokic as the best player, and this year they barely hovering around 500. 2 games is not really that many. And when Paul Millsap come back, they probably can make a run for that fifth seed. But like I said, it's going to be an argument. Is Paul Millsap better than Jokic? And honestly, I think it's debatable.